Since 2018, just as a side note, marijuana seizures at the US border are down 88%, I think. So why is that? It's because it's just grown right here in California. Like, why are you going to grow it in Mexico and smuggle it across the border where it will be seized when you can just grow it here and it's just much easier? So, needless to say, there's a boom, or there was a boom in illegal cannabis cultivation here in California. And it was every criminal group. Like, a lot of times I'll hear people say, oh, it's drug cartels. The drug cartels are growing marijuana here in California. It's not the drug cartels that I would, it's not like Miles Zambada put together a plan and has people up here in California growing marijuana. That's just not happening. Are there Mexican nationals doing it? Absolutely. The people dominating the scene right now are Chinese organized crime. Believe it or not, Chinese organized crime is growing a ton or tons of marijuana here in California, and they're doing it to generate cash that they then use to do like almost like a Hawala capital flight thing out of China. In other words, let's say someone in China wants to get $1 million of wealth out of the country. They have strict capital flight requirements. They don't want money leaving their economy and going into the US economy. So I remember when I first heard about this issue, I talked to our people that work in China and I said, like, hey, shouldn't the Chinese government want to partner with us on this? Like, they don't want the money leaving the country. If we ask them if we show them what's going on, they'll crack down on this. And his thing is like, Bill, who has the money in China? And when you think of it that way, oh, it's actually the Communist Party that has the money in China. So they're using this, the Communist Party is using this to get their wealth out of China and get it into the United States. So what they'll do is they'll generate this cash from marijuana sales here, and then they'll just kind of do a Hawala thing where the person who wants their money out of China will provide it to someone else in China, and he'll call over here and they'll release that US cash to whoever that person wants it released to. It really started with something a little more complex with precursor chemicals. Let's say the cartel orders $1 million of chemicals from China. A Chinese money broker pays that bill. Okay. So now the cartel owes that Chinese money broker $1 million. Fast forward to chemicals go to Mexico, the drugs are made, they're sold in the United States. There's US dollars in the United States. As soon as there's US dollars in the United States, that Chinese money broker says, I want it delivered to 3 people in California. And that's how the cartel pays him back. They pay people here. So he's just used the drug trade to get wealth or value out of China and get it into the United States. They started using that capital flight money laundering model so much that they drove the cost of money laundering down to 0%. The Chinese would launder your drug money for free, where it used to be maybe 6%, even 12%. They will launder your money for free because there was such a desire to get money out of China. So they couldn't, even with charging 0%, they couldn't get enough money. So they had to start actually doing their own criminal enterprises just to generate cash to
Mm.
keep feeding this machine.